do the food job.
That's fair. Do
I
you know
see a
I
squid as
found?
well.
Do you know what I found the other day that I was so surprised that I was so happy about?
What?
Do you want to guess? Okay. Do you know Marks and Spencer's, the food side of it now?
Yeah.
They
Like the
had a
fancy
display in the
food.
US at Target. It shocked
What
the
Marks and
crap out of me.
Spencer's?
I sent a picture to Bateman and Queenie. I'm like, bro. There's just a
What like
Marks
the
and Spencer's display. They had like British, like the little bubbles you put on the tree. And they had
not
like
the
the
food.
shortbread. No, they had some
Oh,
of the food. Yeah, they had shortbread and tea and stuff like that. I was like, I had a double take for a second there. But yes, go ahead, continue. Marks and Spencers.
so I was just looking online for like Christmas food that happens to be gluten free, and I came across gluten free vegetarian spring rolls, and I haven't seen those in years, and I missed them. So I thought I'm gonna buy a packet to try them out before Christmas, and they're really nice. But while I was there, I saw a ready meal that was macaroni cheese with gluten free pasta, and not a vegan one, like you get in the shops. And I tried it, and it was the best mac and cheese I've ever had. Like it
Oh,
tasted like,
fair.
and I've never found mac and cheese that's not gluten free and vegan because it's always like when you find them in like Sainsbury's, it's like vegan cheese with gluten free pasta, and it's horrible. Like no offense, but it's not real cheese. I like my proper cheese. So when I found that, I thought I'm going to try it, and it was the best thing ever. But it was expensive. For like a ready meal is expensive. But I miss mac and cheese. I can never make it the same way from scratch. That makes sense.
Mac and cheese is nice. It's my favorite.
Would
I
you have
want
like
them
It's versatile. You can have it with anything.
exactly? Do you like make yours from scratch, or do you like make it from scratch, or do you get it like from a box or a ready meal?
I mean, sometimes I'll do. I mean, it's usually the box if I make it, but then sometimes I'll add stuff to it still.
Well, yeah, but that's for me. But you don't make the whole thing from scratch.
No, I mean I have, but I don't normally know.
Because I've tried to make it from scratch before, and it's not the nicest. Like it doesn't taste right. Like it's fine, it's edible, but it's just like it's not what I remember mac and cheese is. So when I found that, I was like, perfect, finally real mac and cheese. I kind of want another one now. So that's what I found in Marks and Spencer's. So if anyone else is gluten free, go to Marks and Spencer's if you want good mac and cheese.
Yes, do it. Also, welcome in Ginger Squid and Coblet. Hope you're having a
Is that a
good day.
potato?
Mushroom. That is a potato.
I like potatoes. I'm a little mesmerized by what's on your display, Dem.
What's happening? Why is it going back and forth?
I'm cheating. I have a spell that
Why is it
lets me
going?
slow time.
But why is it not crushing the things?
1 second. Knife, bottle, apple.
It's like a
book,
lid.
Oh, I thought it was like a.
It's a
like
game
a
called Spot
jar.
the Edition.
In Fable.
It is. All right, last round. I got a look. So we have fish, skull, book, gravestone, boot, apple, plant. Fish. Fish is different. How do I still?
Wait,
Fish.
how do you? So wait,
How did I
there's
lose?
something I can
No, I
remove
clicked
it.
the fish. Game cheated.
So wait, does it move the item or change the item?
Changes the item. I selected the fish. It says I selected the knife. I think I just clicked too soon.
Oh no.
Tut, tut, tut. Had one job.
I did. Y'all are just mesmerized.
Pretty much, yeah.
Don't be mesmerized. Don't do it. It's just a simple thing I could play while we were talking.
So yeah, damn, you have been playing a lot of Fable lately, though.
I have. I have 2 achievements left. Headstone Skull.
Let me guess. One of them is the heroic feats one.
What's that one?
I think it's when you play it on the heroic difficulty.
Correct.
The back one.
I remember that because that was the last achievement I did on Steam, Fable Anniversary.
That'll be the last one. I also have to get all the dolls, which means I have to play this game.
Yeah.
I already forgot what it is. Is it the apple?
The heroic difficulty is pretty it's not massively hard. I mean, once you get used to like the old school mechanics of Fable gameplay, I guess, but you don't get resurrection potions, so you just have to sort of stock up on the normal potions. So I think the only challenging bit I would have had was at like that crucible level, the arena. I just kind of stocked up on potions, ready for that.
Stocked up on potions. Yeah. I honestly, because you know Harbinger, right? The Sword in the Stone.
Yeah.
I didn't level up until like at all in anything. I did not level up until I made my first attempt. So then I could save my experience and then go back and try for it after. So I did that, and that's the only times I died was before I leveled up. After I leveled,
Oh.
no deaths.
That's fair.
Have you read any
I
good
remember.
books or manga lately? Sorry, you go ahead. We'll talk about that after.
I was going to say I got annoyed when I started doing my heroic run on Fable. I think the game glitched or something because I selected heroic, started playing, and maybe an hour into the game, I picked up a resurrection file and I was like, this shouldn't be there. The game put me on normal, even though I selected heroic, so I had to start again. It's like, luckily I didn't go that far in.
I can
It-
answer Squid's
it-
question.
It either glitched or I clicked early or something. Like,
I've read
books or
both.
manga?
I have read both recently, actually.
You've read both all the books and both all the manga?
No, I meant I have read a manga and a book recently.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cheat.
Do you see
Damn.
you're gonna cheat?
Damn. We're watching you.
The manga I read recently is one I've read before, but it's one of my favorite like mangas ever. Is a manga called Fruit Basket.
Okay.
There's also an anime of it, but I love the manga. And it's quite a nice, like, shortish one. If that makes sense. It's not like got like over like 100 books. It's quite nice, like a few books of it. If you get like the collector's edition ones. I can't remember the exact number. I think it's like less than 20 books. So it's quite a nice number. That's a good manga. I recommend. And the
Fruit
book,
Basket. I've heard of Fruit Basket. I haven't actually looked into it myself, though. I've heard of it.
it's a nice, like, high school themed, but it's got like zodiac signs in it. And it's like it's got a curse. It's got a little bit like of everything, but it's a quite nice coming of age one. I would say it might be a good way of putting it.
Right.
It's a very sweet one. Like there's a slight dark theme in it, but not like horrendously. I think it's got something in there for everyone to like. Like there's 2 different versions of the anime. I think they brought out the first series in anime back in like I want to say 2005, But back then, the manga wasn't finished yet, so they only did one series and never finished the storyline. But back in 2019, they redid the first season and finished off the series, if that makes sense. They made 3 seasons following the books properly.
Very
They
nice.
changed some of the details, which is fine. But I'm glad they finished off the series because it's a good series that needed to have a good anime to go with it, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, I recommend it because it's only got 3 seasons in the anime, so it's not like loads of episodes you've got to watch. It's quite a nice one to kind of get into, but finish it as well. Otherwise, I would say Fairy Tail, but that's a lot of episodes. And
That
lots of
is a lot
manga.
of episodes. That and One Piece are very daunting to get into.
Yeah. No, Fairy Tail, I recommend getting into it. But if you want a shorter anime and manga, Fruit Basket is quite nice. It's a completely different theme, but it's a nice one. And I haven't started the book yet, but I'm debating between these 2 books, whether which one to start first.
Mhm.
So is either reread a series of books that I've read before, or do a different series of books I've never read before. The reason I'm debating this, like, I read one series before, but it was many years ago, and after reading Crescent City, it's referenced a few things I need to kind of read back in the original series, if that makes sense, to kind
Okay.
of get the reference for it. So I'm thinking, do I restart 7 books just for this one, like to get the references from the Crescent City, or do I leave it for a bit since I have read them before and try read something new for a little bit? Because I either want to reread Throne of Glass, or for the first time ever read what's it called? What's the title called? Where's the book gone now? That's it. Kingdom of the Wicked.
Hmm.
It
I
was right at the
see.
top of my shelf. I couldn't see it from there. It's at the very top, next to Throne of Glass as well. So I have
Nice.
to go up my step stool to get to them.
Um.
But that's
yeah.
so
As
that's my debate. That's what I'm getting at.
as this is our last podcast until New Year's Day,
Happy New
there you go for
Year!
people. Our next podcast will be on New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, the 1st, which I wanted to get in 25 episodes before the end of the year, but I realize it's actually more fitting that we start it on New Year's Day because we will be
The 25th
starting
episode.
2025 with our 25th episode.
Mm.
It seems fitting to me.
Hungover podcast.
You're reading
Oh,
through Throne of Glass and A Court
A
of
Court of Thorns and
Thorned
Roses.
Roses.
So therefore,
I
the
know
same
what
order.
those acronyms mean.
Yeah, I explained this to Dev a few quite a while ago when I recommended Crescent City.
That's true.
I also said these. See, I like that A Court of Thorns and Roses is your favourite. Throne of Glass is my favourite. Well, technically Crescent City is my favourite, then Throne of Glass, then A Court of Thorns and Roses. Don't get me wrong, I love A Court of Thorns and Roses, but between the 3, I prefer the character development of Throne of Glass and Crescent City.
I did research on the series. I think I know why it's most people's favorite. It's because Throne of Glass toned down the certain type of content severely.
Wait, what was that? Sorry?
I said I did some research on the series and I found that most people prefer the Court of Thorns and Roses because Throne of Glass severely toned down a certain type of content.
I get what you mean, but I feel like there was a lot more action in Throne of Glass than A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was
Which
a
is
lot more
probably
action and a lot less. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And like I said, like the main character in the Throne of Glass, I don't want to give names out because it's gonna spoil names. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say names, but the main female character in Throne of Glass, her character development was, I think, one of the best written. Yeah.
You played the 5th. You're not
Don't get me
American.
wrong. I love Court of Thorns and Roses, and Feyre, again, good character development. I love her, but between her and the main lead in Throne of Glass, I kind of like felt I kind of like, you know, when you like read a character, you kind of like you vibe with one more than the other. If that's the right way of putting it. You're in Empire Storms. Oh, you're near the end. Did you read Tower of Dawn? Because I know some people skip because Tower of Dawn and Empire Stones happen at the same Empire Storms happen at the same time.
Oh.
It's because in Tower of Dawn it's a different character who doesn't appear in Empire Storms, and it makes sense why. Because he has his own book before they combine them towards the end of the book, until they combine the last book of the series. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just threw something up on screen.
You did the tandem read? What's a tandem read again? There's different versions of how you read these books, hence why I need to reread them. Because I wouldn't... Which one's a tandem read again? Nice one, then. That is a Court of Thorns and Roses right there. And I will admit them, Crescent City also has a little bit of that in book 2 and 3.
I've heard it has a little, but it's not like the other ones.
It's not as much as Throne of Glass, not Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's less than that, but more than Throne of Glass. So it's like a good middle ground, I would say. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Strange got me to get the Crescent City books.
When I recommended it to you, though, in my defense, I've only read the first book by that point because I was waiting for the second and third to come out to read them because I don't like cliffhangers.
Well, cliffhangers.
Read them at the same time got you.
Love them and hate them.
That's what I mean. I read Crescent City and I read it in 3 days. I fell in love with it straight away. And the thing is, though, it came out right before lockdown. So when the second book was meant to come out, we were in lockdown, so it was delayed and delayed. So it came out 2 years later.
These are chunky.
I was like, I can't do another cliffhanger read and wait another 2 years. And it was another 2 years before the third book came out this year. I was like, okay, all 3 books are out now. I can finally officially read the second book and the third book. Yes, those books. But I will admit, those books were amazing. Like, I'm surprised to say after book 1, book 2 was better, and then book 3 was even better. Like, it didn't lose momentum at all.
I did see some other people who had the same complaint I did with the first book.
What?
Like how it starts is it throws way too much at you at the beginning.
It does. I do admit that. Reading it a second time helped a lot.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. But I think it's because the main story doesn't start in that bit. It's more of an introduction.
Well, that's the problem, though, is it's not an introduction. An introduction should give you a couple characters and ease you into the thing. They threw in, I think they threw in about 5 or 6 names that are fantasy
Probably
names, keep in mind.
They're not simple names.
They threw in a whole bunch of world lore. Also, the names they throw at you, only one of them is half human. The other ones are different creatures altogether. So it's like I have to keep straight all this world lore. I have to keep straight all these people's names. I have to keep track of what species they are, and I'm halfway through chapter 1.
All right, to make it easier, so you got the Fae, which are like fairies and stuff like that. So they're Fae, which is pretty much in every single book of Sarah J. Maas's. They're all Fae. But then the other breeds you got in Crescent City are the wolves.
Oh no, I don't have a problem with what the creatures of the land. It's which name goes to which person and what creature they are.
That's what I mean. I thought I was going to do a brief run now because I know you know it, but not no one in the chat does.
And also, it's weird that they throw all that stuff together, but also try and be relatable. And they're like, "Wow, they're like in a gym and they stink. They need to take a shower." Like,
I know.
I'm so confused.
You need to get through the first 5 chapters.
I read them for the plot. The plot being Rysand and the Bat Boys.
That's a Court of Thorns and Roses right there. Do you pronounce it Rysand or Rysand?
Rysand? I don't know.
See, because this is the other point. Sarah Master, she's got quite unusual names. There's a gloss in the back of
I
in most
guess
books of how you pronounce them. But I
I-
always pronounce them wrong. So I pronounce that Resand.
actually, if you're
which
using
make-
it like John Rhys Davies, it should be Raysand.
I pronounce it
think.
as Resand, but some people do say Rysand, which is fine. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you pronounce. It doesn't really matter how you pronounce someone's name as long as you understand that's how you pronounce that name. Because I will admit, the main character in Throne of
Resand
Glass,
what?
I do pronounce. He doesn't have a last name. That's another thing. We never find out Resand's last name, and I think that's gonna be a plot at some point. Like, what's his last name is?
Hmm.
I think it's meant to be in the book at some point. It's a
Hmm.
mystery. Because A Court and Thorns of Roses, even though the main story's finished, there's more to go in that story as well. If that makes sense, because of other characters. And I think that's why it's going to come back to Resand at some point because of his last name. Because he's the only one in the books who's not given a last name. There's a bit of fact for you.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't pick it up straight away. I picked it up after because I have read Court and Thorns of Roses I think twice now. And I picked it up on my second read. There was no ever last name. And then I was in like different chat forums and it came up in there as well. But yeah, he doesn't have a last name. But that's another reason why I need to reread these books because they link together. You see, Crescent City kind of links them, so it becomes like one massive world, even though they're on different worlds. It's confusing, but you gotta read them. So I do feel sorry for Deb, who's reading Crescent City, who has no background for the other books. So it might get a bit confusing for you.
It's okay. I think porn is the same on every planet.
I mean, like some of the some of the backstories for some characters who get introduced in Crescent City. You might not know which book they're from. If that makes sense.
It's all good.
So I do apologize. I didn't realize it was that like detailed. I was like, oh, I should have done more research on that, but I didn't know because I didn't read it myself until I read it.
It's all good. Well, I mean, out of all the books you described from the series, those ones sounded the most interesting to me, to be fair. Throne of Glass sounded close.
I think Throne of Glass you'll enjoy. I don't think A Court on Thorns and Roses is your vibe, I will admit.
It did not sound like my vibe.
No. Like, don't get me wrong, A Court on Thorns and Roses were good, but I do think Crescent City, then Throne of Glass, then A Court on Thorns and Roses, that's my order, my favourites. Because you gotta remember, when she first because Throne of Glass came out first, so when she first wrote the first couple of books, they were very much young adult, but then the last couple of books turned into more adult books, if that makes sense. So it was a bit of a mixed series, because there's the first ad book she wrote, or like the beginning of the series, if that makes sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you gotta remember with her writing, it's not gonna be the first couple of books weren't as good as like writing as it was in A Court and Thorns of Roses, because that was the second series she brought out. But I still think the book itself, like the series, had more like I liked the Throne of Glass more. It was a longer series, yes, but I think it had more of a story. It had a lot of twists and turns in it.
One of the things I was saying though was, as this is our last one for the year, what is everyone's favorite book they read during the year?
Ooh, I don't have a favorite book. I really don't. I had a good few books this year. I can't really pick between them. I feel it's obvious it's going to be Crescent City series. I feel like I need to suggest another book other than Crescent City.
If it is your favorite, I mean, you can count those because it is one story. You can just say the Crescent City.
Yeah,
books,
I meant
so you
as
don't
in
have
like
to pick one.
I read another series of books I really did enjoy as well.
You did what?
I know, and it's not Sarah Maas. It's a different author.
Oh.
Hold on, let me just double check the girl's name. I know her first name. I just need to double check her last name.
This is actually going to be a difficult one for me because I read a few books I like this year. I hit my goal of getting 12 books in a year.
Nice one. Okay, I did get her last name wrong, but I double checked it. All right, so I read these very much early on in the year, so this is back towards I think January, February time. So this early on in the year, which I did enjoy, was set. It was like a Romeo and Juliet inspired story, but it was set in China. in Shanghai in the years with like when it was like a lot of Gan stuff. So it was like an inspired book, but it was a completely different story. And it's by this author called Chloe Gong, and it's called These Violets Are Lights. And I really did enjoy those. It was a
Romeo
duology.
and Juliet set in an Asian land.
It was.
Did it involve a secret tunnel? Secret tunnel.
So basically, it's Romeo and Juliet inspired, but it's not, obviously they're not called Romeo and Juliet.
Right.
It's basically that sort of storyline. But what happened? So you know, back in like, I can't remember what year it's set in. Let me double check. It was set in 1926 in the Hums of Shanghai.
Nice.
So it was like a blood feud between two gangs, obviously one Chinese and then one Russian. And the main characters were, ironically, the female was called Juliet, but obviously, ironically, and the Russian, who was the boy, was not Romeo but Roma. So similar names.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, so basically they're two gangs but on different sides of things. So it's obviously a blood feud, so they can't really be together. So it's forbidden love, and it's got like a lot of action to it, and it's got a dark theme in it, and I did enjoy it.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail of it because obviously most people know the retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and it does kind of follow that pattern, but there is a twist. So I'll leave it there because you know that duology's done. There is another duology that reference those books, which I have not read yet. That's my next read as well as those next duology. But I was waiting for the second book to come out, which I just did. But yeah, those are good books. These Light the Lights and what was the second book called? I need to double check the name. These Light the Lights and Our Violent Ends.
We're getting late.
Hello, Raiders.
Kev, how are you? Welcome on in, Raiders. Hope you're having a good day. If any of you read any books this year, let us know what your favorite book of the year was. To
but yeah, those are mine
Coblet
done
and Ginger,
now.
if and Jelly Beans, if y'all had a favorite this year, let me know. Queenie, if you had a favorite this year as well.
Name. Well, your guys's, because that's mine. Little brief introduction. Finished.
I haven't really done anything new this year.
I know Queenie said she read The Hobbit.
She started reading it, yeah.
I believe she said she finished it today. Anyway,
Did she?
she said she finished it. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what she said. Actually, I can just click her chat history. I've read The Hobbit now, and I'll be honest, I prefer the movies, which I never normally say.
I'm not surprised she said that because, I mean, there is more to see in the movies because they've got the other stories.
I also said, when she said that, I said, is it because Thorin is old in in the books and younger in the movies? And her reply was, love how you and Bateman asked me the same thing.
Yeah, I did ask her that.
I've read so many. Currently reading The God and the Gumaho.
I do not like a term for a basically somebody to like as a fox that becomes human or something, or version of it. Because I've heard that a lot on Korean dramas, that term. But I don't know if that's the same sort of thing.
The Ember and the Ashes series. There's one I'm hoping to read another book or two before the end of the year.
Oh, The Ember and the Ashes.
I am going out of town on Friday through the 23rd, and I will say, because I'm going to visit grandparents in Florida, and I'll be honest, a lot of the time is spent reading or just doing stuff. So I'll probably read another.
Sorry.
I'll probably end up reading another book or two in the next week. But I want to finish the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, also called the Millennium series. But that Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is definitely in the running favorite. I also read Dune this year, and Dune Messiah. But I think my favorite book this year was an older book called East of Eden by John Steinbeck.